There was no signs anything was wrong at all. Everything was fine that night. Same as usual, just hanging out with friends, doing 18-year-old stuff. And it was just as simple as going and talking to somebody where nobody else was located. Just the wrong settings.
So we're working on an acquaintance rape this time. The reality is acquaintance rapes are the most common type of sexual assault that we see. It's really an epidemic, honestly, with campus rapes and date rape. Acquaintance rapes, where the victim knows their assailant, account for approximately 82% of rapes. Like all rapes, less than a third of them get reported. And unfortunately, even fewer get prosecuted. With acquaintance rapes, you're almost guaranteed that the defense is going to claim consent.
And the DNA will sort of be a wash in that he admits they had sex.
Right.
He's just going to say that she consented to doing so.
Right. We're going to need to piece together witnesses and evidence, really going to be building a circumstantial case that we can present to the DA here.
Every single rape kit represents a person waiting for answers.
The biggest reason we're doing this is to bring these survivors some justice. Hi there.
Hi.
Casey Garrett.
Hi, I'm Dan Moriarty with
Nice to
Special
meet you,
Victims
Sergeant.
Unit.
Hi, Alicia O'Neill.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Brian and Bruce are going to be helping you out this week. I'm going to just kind of be around, and I'm going to stay out of the way. So.
Okay. Well, it's a real pleasure to meet you. Are you guys ready to get in there and get to work?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Absolutely.
Nice to meet you guys. Good luck.
Thank you, Sergeant. Hey, Jesse.
Hey, Jesse.
Hey, how you
How
guys
are you?
doing? Good, good, good.
Good to see you again.
Good seeing you guys.
We're excited to be working with Jesse Alvarado again, whose vast experience in sex crimes investigations will really help on an acquaintance rape case like this one.
Brian Holdaway.
Brian, it's a pleasure.
Pleasure to meet you.
Bruce Huntington. Bruce? Jesse.
We're looking forward to working with detectives Brian Holdaway and Bruce Huntington, who've been really striving to solve these crimes.
And you guys recently really made a big push towards clearing up the backlog of sexual assault kits that you had, right?
Correct. We went through all of our old sexual assault kits and got them sent to the crime lab to be tested and put on CODIS.
We recently assisted the Unified Police Department in testing a number of their kits, and Shay's case really stood out as one we should work on. Acquaintance rape cases are always very challenging for the prosecution. Alicia and I are hoping that our expertise as former prosecutors may help these detectives solve this case. You want to give us the rundown on Shay's case?
Yeah, so she basically went to the smoke shop. She was employed there.
Can somebody explain to me what the benefit of hookah is? Like, what do people get high, or is it just like
you don't get high.
You don't get high?
No, it's like tobacco.
Somebody sounds like she knows.
I've smoked hookah before.
You've
It's
smoked
not
hookah?
illegal.
It just sounds
Is that
illegal.
weird?
No, we're just messing with you.
It's like a social thing where you just sit around and they play loud music.
Well, let me just go on the record by saying that Alicia's way hipper than me, as evidenced by this conversation. All right, so let's get stuff up on the whiteboard so we can refer to it while we're here all week. Is she 21 now?
She's 21 now. So
She was 18.
She would have been, yeah.
18 years old at the time of the offense? She was young. So at first, the detective that was handling it did meet with a little bit of resistance from her, right?
There's a lot of drama and sorrow and tragedy in the house already. She just didn't want to add to it.
Hi, Shaylin. I noticed in the report that you told the initial officer that you didn't want to pursue charges. And I'm just calling to talk to you about that and find out if that is still the case. I haven't really decided yet. My dad, he has cancer, and I'm not letting him know. Okay. I'm still debating.
Back then, Shay did not want to move forward with the prosecution of her case because her dad was suffering through a fight with cancer, and she really did not want to upset him. Obviously, that meant that the investigation stopped as well. But now that Shay's ready to move forward, the UPD is excited to work on her case. So is your plan then to do sort of a full forensic interview with her?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. All right, just go ahead and have a seat on that right side. tell me why you're here today?
The gang rape situation back in 2012.
Okay.
I worked at Chief's Hookah Lounge. So I was there almost every night for a couple hours. My boss, I could never pronounce his name, so we called him Boo. And then we had a mutual friend named Kevin. And one night, I remember I was there with my ex-boyfriend, and I went back to start a hookah, and I looked over and I saw Kevin back in like the room with the door. And I thought he was crying. So I went back there, and he shut the door and pushed me up and was kissing me, and I was pushing him off. I was like, dude, like my boyfriend's out there, you need to stop, And someone knocked on the door, and it was my boss, Boo, and I was like, oh good, like he's gonna help me get out of here. And I like reached and grabbed him, and he slid himself in the door and shut the door behind him.
And did they say anything, Kevin and...
They were laughing.
They were laughing?
And then Boo pushed my head down, and my head was by Kevin's crotch, and I remember him pulling his pants down, shoving my face in his private area. And then Boo pulled my pants down at the same time. He went in vaginally, and then when I fell, Kevin was in the front, and then Boo went in rectally.
Okay.
Jeez.
And I remember banging on the door with his hand, trying to get someone to open it. While it was happening, nothing was going through my head. It's kind of just blank. I realized what was going on when I heard other people. My friend was banging on the door. I started hitting back and yelling for them, and they were yelling to let me out. And then finally it just kind of stopped. And then I finally grabbed my pants, pulled them up, and ran out the door. I was freaking out and crying. Called my friend Tyson. I was crying to Tyson. He was trying to calm me down, asked me, who are these guys? Who are these guys? And then when I got off the phone, he called the police.
I need to find Tyson.
Who else was there?
Devin,
And then who was knocking on the door?
my friend Haley.
And you don't remember Kevin's last name? Is that right? Okay. And then Boo?
His name's Nawaf.
Okay.
There we go.
Nawaf?
Nawaf, I believe.
Okay. Come on in.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you? My name is Casey Garrett.
Shay.
Nice to meet you, Shay.
Nice to meet you.
Alicia O'Neill. Good
Nice to
to
meet you.
formally meet you.
Yeah, come sit down. You really can't blame Shay for wanting to retreat from this horrible assault and forget that it even happened. So she's very brave in deciding to come forward and bring it into the light. We're here to help Detective Holdaway, and we appreciate you being here and following through. So how do you feel about all this?
I went through a lot in that year, not only just this, but just some family issues and a lot of other stuff that made it a lot harder to be able to talk about, and I had to keep it a secret. And
That must have been very hard for you to try to keep this a secret with the medical stuff that was going on with your dad.
yeah, that was definitely hard. I never thought that this would get brought up again, but it's kind of like talking about things and kind of getting it out, and it's kind of a relief.
These guys are committed to working your case. We're committed to assisting them in any way we can. Just in your interview, you've given us a lot of work to do. You have. We got a lot of people we want to talk to.
All of the evidence in your case that you did such a great job by going to the hospital and submitting to a sexual assault exam, all the evidence that was gathered, we sent it to a lab that's doing the testing very quickly, and we'll be able to get those answers to the detective.
We want to get you some answers and some justice. These guys have had a freebie for, 3 years, and that's not right.
Yeah. It makes it easier in the short term not to deal with it, but long term, not getting it out and not doing anything about it, you're only gonna hurt yourself more. Like, when you're alone at night, like, and you have nobody to talk to, it all just comes out.
All right, so we have 2 suspects. Suspect number 1 is Kevin.
Yes.
All right, what do we know about Kevin?
He's 2 years older than her.
He was the one that was in the room acting as if he was crying.
Yeah.
Do we have any idea of his whereabouts now?
The last address we have for him is in Salt Lake City.
Okay.
Does he have any criminal history?
He doesn't have a criminal history.
All right, what about our second suspect, Nawaf? We don't have a last name on him.
No.
I'll put last name unknown then. We believe he was a possible owner of the bar.
According to this report, he was the manager of the business.
Possible owner or manager?
Yeah.
Okay. He came into the room after Kevin.
Yes.
Nickname, Boo. We know significantly less about Nawaf.
It's so important to get out to the crime scene, especially in a case like Shay's case. It will get us such a better idea what the dimensions of the room are by actually being there. The police are working to track our suspects, so we're gonna go ahead and visit the crime scene, which in this case is just a regular hangout where Shay always felt safe.
All right, so this is the shop portion. And
The hallway,
so here's a bathroom to the left.
the hookah lounge is back there.
And then the closet's gonna be to the left here,
Yep.
okay?
So this is gonna be our crime scene.
Oh my goodness. Oh, wow.
This is
This
tiny.
is tiny. Good Lord.
Casey, if you step in, like, and I step
Yeah.
in, it's legitimately nobody else can fit in here and close the door.
Wow. Come back in here and
Yeah.
participate in this.
Like, please.
I mean, to get 3 of us back here is...
And if you close the door,
And you can see why Shay said Nawaf had to slide in because he had to make it around this.
Yeah, he
this
opens the
corner.
door.
And
She's
slides
thinking
in.
help.
slide in.
Help, right. And that would explain bruising because, I mean, you would hit something in here. you
And I
know?
mean, look at this floor. This is, I mean,
Yeah.
not a place you would have sex.
Of course not.
After actually being inside of that closet, it's ridiculous to think that anyone would choose that as a place to have sex. And then the whole back of this is cinder block, so you couldn't hear through it.
Right, and then the lounge is right here.
And if there was music playing in here, there's no way that they would hear
No.
her banging on the door.
Even though the closet is technically close to the hookah lounge, it's a world apart when you think about the loud music and all the partying going on. That's definitely something you want the jury to see.
Unified Police Department has made some progress on our suspects and has developed a last name for our suspect, Nawaf.
Here's a 2012 picture of him.
Do you guys feel comfortable putting his last name up there then? Do we feel like that's the right Nawaf?
Yes.
And we have some preliminary results on Shay's rape kit back from the lab.
Looks like we have a small amount of DNA. So our vaginal swab is going to be insufficient male DNA, but the cervical swab has a mixture of YSTR DNA profiles, so we're going to be able to make comparisons. Their DNA can always serve as corroboration of a victim's account. In this case, the results won't necessarily be the kind of smoking gun evidence you get in a stranger rape.
You know, if their DNA's there, they're gonna claim it was consensual. Which is all the more reason why we need to get a hold of our suspects as soon as possible.
Even in an acquaintance case where your victim knows the suspects, we want Shay to identify the attackers for us because it helps us to get a warrant for their buccal swabs, which we can then compare to the DNA found in her rape kit.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good to see you again.
So I'm going to show you a group of photographs. Just take your time, look at the photos, and if you see anyone that you recognize or think may or may not be an individual that was involved, let me know.
That looks like him, but I can't 100% say I'm sure.
So that's who you know to be Kevin?
Yeah.
So the same thing applies to this group of photos, okay?
That was Nawaf.
This is Nawaf.
Looks just like him.
Though Shay was a bit nervous and probably intimidated by the process, she was able to pick out her assailants from the photo lineup. We went from not having a clue who Nawaf was to
Now we know.
Now we know.
Picture identification.
Yeah, that was strong.
We're ready for a search warrant.
Police reached out to our suspect, Kevin, and he's agreed to come in and talk.
Go ahead and have a seat right there. Okay. This gentleman's helping me.
Hey there, Jess Alvarado. I'm giving him a hand on this case that he's working on.
Kevin is here voluntarily, and even though he can leave anytime he wants, we're hoping to get some answers.
I have a case on a shop that was up in the Mill Creek area. Did you ever visit a shop up there?
I did, and I know exactly where you're coming from. I know exactly who it is. You know, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not gonna lie about anything, so.
I knew he was gonna be a talker.
I used to go over there, smoke hookah. I mean, I'd go every day. One night, we were drinking. Well, everyone was drinking. And then Shay kind of, you know.
Yeah, tell me a little bit more about, kind of stuff.
Well, she started, giving me a lap dance, whatever, whatnot. I went out, went to the restroom, came out, and then she grabbed my arm, pulled me into the camera room, pulled down my pants, and proceeded, to suck my penis.
Okay.
And then we locked the door, but no off. He was knocking. He was like, "Hey, who's in there?" And then Shay opened the door. She pulled him in and then started getting on him, pulling down his pants. She pulls hers down, he bends her over and puts me in front of her and starts, sucking my penis again.
Okay. What was he doing while she was sucking your penis?
Having intercourse.
Okay. And then what was the very next thing that happened?
He laid her on the ground.
Okay.
And he was having intercourse, and then she said, "I want Kevin now."
Okay.
So Norwalk was like, "Okay." He got off, I obviously, had intercourse, and then she started to cry.
Did she say why?
Okay. She just started to cry, got up, said, "I'm sorry," pulled her pants up, walked out, went outside.
Was somebody banging on the door when you guys were having sex?
I don't know.
There was somebody banging on the door. Wasn't there?
I honestly don't know.
Okay. A lot of times when people have been drinking, they misinterpret what people are saying, what they want to do.
Yeah.
Any chance you could have misinterpreted what Shay may have wanted or
I mean, honestly, I doubt it. Just because of the fact that she was the one pulling my pants down. It's kind of...
We just need to know the truth.
That is the truth.
Kevin's story about consensual sex is frankly exactly what we expected to hear from him. Luckily, Kevin's confidence has made him pretty talkative about the event, so hopefully we can give him an opportunity to keep talking.
Would you be willing to take a polygraph?
Yes.
I would like to do sort of a list of who we want to talk to so we can stay focused here. As we've seen in a lot of high-profile acquaintance rape cases, the victim's credibility is really at issue and can be attacked by the defense. We can expect that a lot is going to ride on Shay's credibility. So what we want to do is corroborate her account through witness testimony. Her friend that was at the hookah lounge is Haley.
I would say Devin,
Okay.
who's present at the hookah lounge as well.
Tyson was the friend that she called.
Who called the police?
So he'll be important to talk to. All right, so that gives us a lot of work to do. All right, calling Haley. Haley, a close friend of Shay's, was not only at the hookah lounge, she was also banging on the door just inches away from where Shay was being attacked. She's about as close to an eyewitness as we could ever hope for in a case like this, so we're eager to hear what she has to say about that night.
Hello?
Hi, is Haley there?
This is her.
It's Detective Holdaway with Unified Police. I have an old case that I'm working. It's regarding Shay at a smoke shop. Does that sound familiar at all? She hung up on me.
She hung up on you. That stinker.
Maybe Haley's just a little squirrely with, talking on the
police.
phone to the police or something.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming down on such a short notice.
While we continue to look for Haley, there's also other witnesses that Shay saw shortly after the attack that we want to talk to. The hope is they can attest to her condition after the attack and what she told them at the time. A friend of hers, Devin, was also at the hookah lounge that night.
We were just all hanging out and she disappeared for about an hour. And when she came back, she was crying, she was hysterical. She was saying, we have to go, we have to go. They raped me, they did horrible things to me. And I told her to call the police and she wouldn't call the police. And I asked her, do I need to take you to the hospital? And she said no.
And then you drive her, is that right? Where did you drop her off?
Her car.
Once she left the lounge, Shay first called a coworker named Tyson.
I remember her being upset. And then she said she had been raped. I don't remember the name. I don't really remember much more of the phone call other than I hung up, turned around, and made a phone call to the police.
This is Gary Evans.
Hey, Officer Evans. Officer Evans responded to Tyson's call and met with Shay shortly after the attack.
She didn't want to be right in front of her house, so I met her down the street a little bit.
Okay. Did Shay in any way exhibit any signs of intoxication when you were visiting with her?
No, I didn't smell any alcohol or any of the visual clues, glossy bloodshot eyes,
Nothing
anything like that. No.
Okay. She seemed to completely have her wits about her.
Yeah. She was very sad. You know, she wouldn't really look at me in the eye when she was talking. Her head was down. You know, she was pretty nervous and I would say embarrassed or ashamed about what happened.
Sure.
She just wanted to report it and not go any further than that. You know, as a police officer, it's frustrating that your job is you want to catch the bad guys, and when something like this, and they say they don't want to do anything, it's like they're going to get away with what they did, and to me, that's unacceptable.
Well, you did a great thing that night. You convinced her to go have the rape kit done, and she did. And now she's cooperative. She's ready to go forward against these guys.
A little bit older now, and probably in a little bit safer place, you know, emotionally and that kind of thing.
I hope so.
Officer Evans showed great compassion and consideration for Shay and was really instrumental in encouraging her to go to the hospital to preserve that important evidence. She did stop at home first, though, to talk to her mother.
I was asleep and she just came in and she rubbed my arm. I'm like, what? And she goes, Mom, I need to talk to you. And I'm like, well, give me a minute. And she just started bawling, Mom, they raped me, I need you. We went downstairs and talked about it and stuff, and I encouraged her to go to the hospital. I wanted to go with her, obviously, but we didn't want her dad my husband to know what was going on.
It really is selfless of Shay, who went through this painful event herself, but yet still wanted to protect her terminally ill father.
I came from my place and I drove Shay into the hospital.
Okay.
And she didn't say much at all. She seemed more in shock. I know what it's like. I've been raped before, and it's just kind of like, you know, you just kind of freeze. And that's what it seemed like to me.
To hear Shay's grandmother so casually mention her own rape is really quite shocking. Sadly, it just brings home the statistic that 1 in 6 American women suffer a rape or an attempted rape in their lifetime. It also makes clear why Shay's grandmother would want to get her to the hospital.
All right. I just hope these guys get thrown into jail because I know how hard it is to prosecute rape.
It is. Did you find some stuff on Nawaf?
I found 3 vehicles that were registered to him.
2015.
So we got a Dodge Dakota and a Dodge Challenger, and they all come back to his address. Also, he has a $5,000 warrant out for him for POCS.
Nawaf's arrest warrant for POCS, or possession of a controlled substance, gives the police an opportunity to pick him up and talk to him. Is that a misdemeanor?
It would be a felony.
Felony?
That would have been a felony, yeah.
I think we should go to all those addresses. Let's see if we can find those vehicles there.
We just want to pick him up on the warrant now. We're not going to pick him up on charges.
No, we're going to pick him up on the warrant for right now.
Sounds like a great plan.
I'm going to go do some surveillance real fast.
Okay.
See what we can come up with before we go.
Thank you, Dan.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Hey, I've got your guy over here at the smoke shop. At least his car's here. I've confirmed it with a plate. If we can confirm he's in there, you just want him hooked up?
Correct.
That's awesome.
Thanks, Sam.
Cricket.
Thanks, Sam. Come here for a second, partner. Let me talk to you for a second. What's your name?
Noah.
Noah? I need to turn around for a second. Just face the wall just for a second, okay? Put your hands right back here. Spread your feet apart.
You have a
Spread your feet
warrant out for
apart.
your arrest. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, I know. I talked to my lawyer already.
Okay, we'll talk to you and then we'll talk to him too. Just face that wall just for a second right there.
Unified Police Department has found Nawaf, one of the suspects in Shay's rape, and arrested him on an open warrant. That gives us a chance to talk to him without putting him on the defensive about this alleged sexual assault.
Go ahead and have a seat.
Hopefully we can get him to tell us the truth about what happened that night.
Did you ever work at a smoke shop?
I don't. I used to work before when I first came here to United States. So like, I think chief or chiefs.
There you go. There you go.
Younger crowd? Older crowd?
It's like from like 19 years old to 25.
They get kind of rowdy.
Yeah.
Does it? What about the girls?
The girls?
There must have been a few girls at the hookah lounge, huh?
Oh yeah, they used to come. A lot of girls there.
You had to have some girls working for you, because every business has to have girls working for you. You know, that's the thing. If you don't have women working at your place, you're never gonna sell.
Yeah, that's right.
So you must have had a couple working there?
I don't.
No?
Yeah.
How about girls helping, like boys? Never?
Yeah, they don't like helping me. So, cause like I don't really talk to girls. So. I don't like making them friends and stuff. So
drama. Okay.
Stay away from them.
Okay.
He's getting nervous.
You don't have any girls working there, huh?
I don't.
Wow. That's interesting.
His attitude just changed big time.
We're looking at a case where a young lady was there and got to an argument with someone, and this individual worked at the hookah lounge.
I never remember anything happening.
Never? Okay. What if I told you that we showed her photographs of everybody that worked there, because we kind of knew that you worked there?
She said you were the one that she had the argument with.
Can I get water?
Sure, no, please. It's there for you.
Like what I told you, I never talked to her, so.
Do you remember somebody named Kevin?
Kevin? Mm-hmm. He used to come there with his girlfriend.
Oh, okay. And did he ever have problems there at the place?
I don't know. Like, he never had problems.
You never had problems with him?
Yeah, he's like a good kid. I just want to like kind of question, you know, like why am I here?
When questioned about women and Kevin, Nawaf became very nervous and stopped talking. But the investigators have a warrant to get his DNA. If Nawaf says he never had any kind of contact with Shay, and then we get a match to his DNA in her rape kit, that'll be very damaging to his story. And Nawaf isn't going anywhere for now because they can hold him on his possession charge.
At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hey, Haley, this is Sergeant Moriarty with the Unified Police Department. It's imperative that we talk to you. If you could give me a call back, it'd be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
It's very frustrating because we keep trying to find Haley and she's just not there. Since Shay says that Haley was banging on the door that night, she's very important to talk to. So we're trying everything, including calling her Aunt Kelly.
Hi, Kelly. This is Sergeant Moriarty with the Unified Police Department in Salt Lake City, Utah.
Okay.
I am actually trying to track down Haley. She was a witness to an incident, and I've been having a difficult time locating her, and I received information that she might be with you, or you might know where she's at.
I do not have any idea where she's at. My brother lives in Massachusetts, so I would guess he would probably be a better person to contact about it.
Is that Haley's dad?
Is that Haley's dad?
That is Haley's dad. His name is Toby.
All right, well, maybe I'll give him a call.
Hopefully Haley's dad can lead us to Haley because her account could be really important in corroborating Shay's testimony.
Hey, Toby, we just could really use her help. It would clear up some things if we could talk to her.
Okay.
So
Absolutely. What I can do is just tell her, listen, you need to call.
That'd be awesome.
Absolutely. Anything I can do to help.
Okay, well, I really appreciate your time, sir.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
What a welcome change from being hung up on.
Jesse Alvarado, it's a pleasure.
Brenda, nice to meet you. Another key aspect of corroboration in a rape case can be the physical evidence. And in Shay's case, the medical reports are going to be very important. So we're going to talk to Brenda, who was the sane nurse when Shay went to the hospital that night.
I remember this case very well. It was just one that just never sat well with me.
Why is that?
Because I felt like it was a case that should have it was a hook, line, and sinker. I felt like it was, for me, it was just crystal clear. You know, sometimes there's cases where you understand there's two sides of the story, but this case to me was just, it was black and white.
Why?
Because of how clear she was, the type of injury she had, the story. She had multiple bodily injuries, and she was in a lot of pain. She had an L-shaped abrasion on both of her hips. That would be easily given to her by holding her from behind. And she had a laceration between her vaginal opening and her rectum, which is not typically seen. And because there was so much injury around her rectum, I couldn't really count them, so there was greater than 10.
That really is significant.
You can get injury with both consensual and non-consensual sex, but the type of injuries, where they're located, can be more consistent with consensual or non-consensual sex.
The injuries in this case, in your opinion, were they more consistent with non-consensual sex?
Yes, especially the rectal injuries.
Brenda's medical report shows what Shay went through that night, really making the defense of consent a lot less believable.
So overall, the injuries that you noted would be consistent with what she told you?
Yes, very consistent.
As far as acquaintance rape cases go, I feel like this is a strong one, because when people know one another, it doesn't tend to be some outrageously forceful situation. It's usually coercive or intimidating and that kind of thing. But her injuries are so inconsistent with consent.
Definitely with Devin and the sane nurse, you can turn a case like this from he said, she said to he said, they said.
Right. The witness accounts of everyone that we've spoken to so far and the medical evidence really support Shay's case. But in the end, it just comes down to what a jury's gonna believe. You know, it's so funny because, Nawaf, deny, deny, deny. But then Kevin comes in and says consensual sex. And frankly, that's the best possible defense. When Kevin first spoke to the police and claimed consent, everybody felt like it would be good to have another opportunity to talk to him.
Would you be willing to take a polygraph?
Yes.
I don't want anybody thinking that polygraphs are, evidence or definitive or admissible in court or anything like that. They just aren't.
You can hide behind a lie for a certain amount of time, but the more and more that you talk about that lie, it starts to change, and more information comes out.
Kevin's now coming in to take a polygraph.
Have a seat right here.
The actual polygraph test is a very long and grueling process, which consists of a series of repeated questions.
The reality is, he very well could believe some of that is true.
And he may completely believe it's true.
Yeah, yes, it'll be interesting.
More important than the test itself, it gives the detectives an additional interview to test the subject's story.
You told him some stuff you never told us.
And potentially reveal new details.
He started saying and her friend was banging on the door.
This is why a polygraph can be a very useful tool. In this interview, contrary to his prior interview, Kevin admits to someone banging on the door and admits that the story could be different from what he was first telling us.
So between that and then what Devin saw when Shay ran out, crying and saying, that he raped her, this is a good case for this prosecutor.
Hello? Haley? Can you hold on just 1 second? Got Haley on the phone?
Oh, wow. Good. According to Shay, Haley was right outside the door on the night of the attack, and her memory could be key to Shay's case. And even though it seemed like she became anxious or confused by calls from the police, we're glad that she's willing to talk to us now.
So, I've interviewed a few people about that smoke shop, and they were talking to me about that it was a hookah lounge, but really it was also like a party spot where people would be drinking and dancing.
Yeah.
Okay. What about lap dancing? Were people giving people lap dances?
I'm not sure about that.
You didn't see that happening that night?
Uh-uh.
And then, when did you notice Shay was missing?
we were sitting down smoking hookah when the guy told her to come here to help him. And I was sitting right there. And then like 5 minutes when she wasn't back, I just walked over there and then I knocked on the door to see if they were in there. And then that's when she was like, help me.
Okay.
You know when someone's like cryingly says something?
Uh-huh.
She said it like that. So I knew like something was wrong.
Okay.
I tried opening the door and it was locked and I was sitting there banging on the door. And then one of his like friends came around by me, then that guy opened the door and we tried to get her out and I tried to get in and then they were too strong.
Okay, so they weren't letting you into the room?
No.
Okay.
Not at all.
And then how did she get out of the room if they're not letting the door open?
They let her out after it all happened and
Okay. So Shay comes out, what was her demeanor?
just remember like she was bawling her eyes out and told me that she got raped and that they didn't want me to take her out of there or call the cops or something. And
did you drive with her?
yeah, we drove in the same car. Right after it happened, that we got in her car and drove down the road a little bit so we weren't like out in front of it and stuff.
Okay. Now, if you were to see these guys again, would you be able to identify them?
Yes, I would.
Oh, okay. Hey, I appreciate it.
All right.
Thanks, Haley.
That's awesome.
Oh my gosh.
Way to go. My
Haley.
gosh. She made us wait.
But you know what? The waiting was well worth it.
It was worth it. She corroborates really everything Shay says. She corroborates everything Devin says, you know, but I just think it's gonna really be kind of the icing on the cake for your prosecutor. She's just gonna be a great witness. She verifies all the business about trying to get in and banging on the door. Yeah. Okay, this is like the best whiteboard update ever. Crossing off Haley's name.
Oh, we take back everything we said about her hanging up on us.
All right, well, this is a good one to cross off. Thank you, Haley. We worked hard this week to thoroughly investigate every aspect of Shay's case.
This is an acquaintance of sexual assault, and I don't think I've ever had a case where I had this much evidence.
Shay's testimony, along with the many witnesses' clear memories of that night, Nawaf's denials, the fact that Kevin's story changed between interviews, the striking medical evidence, and the final DNA results.
We were able to include both Nawaf and Kevin as contributors to the mixture on the perianal swabs.
Awesome.
All add up to a compelling case for Brian to take to his DA. We've got some updates to give you. We've had a lot going on since the last time we talked to you. These guys have just been working their tails off, and we've been right there with them, helping them, and just been excited as everything unfolds. We've been compiling a very complete case. We talked to everybody that we believe was there, everybody that we believe had contact with you in the hours following it. We left no stone unturned, I feel. And then today, Brian was able to go to the DA.
I went to the DA today and presented the case. She's gonna go over the reports and the video, and hopefully within a week or two, we'll have a conclusion to the filing of the case.
Holy crap.
In that case. So, yeah, it's
That
pretty
makes it a little
quick.
more real, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. We're so happy with what we've put together.
Yes.
And you should be so happy and so proud of your participation in coming forward. How do you feel about it all?
I don't know, there's like 100 different feelings. Like I'm like mad, confused, anxious, nervous, happy. Like just all of it, like everything's so different.
Tell me what you're anxious about so we can help you address some of that.
Court.
Sure.
Because I have to talk.
Right. Sure.
I don't like court.
Yeah, that's a biggie, and that's going to be difficult. But you know what? You can so totally do that. You know, it's going to be different than this. Court's going to be, what's your name?
Mm-hmm. What happened next?
You know, where did you go? You know what I mean? You're going to be able to answer all those questions.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to be fine.
I'll be in the room. The prosecutor's in the room. So, yeah.
Yeah. What makes you happy? You said some of this makes you happy. What makes
Finally dealing with it, getting it over with.
you dealing with it? Yeah.
Not having to like have those nights where it comes up, you think about it, you're upset because you never did anything, you never dealt with that situation. Now it's like finally just coming out, getting dealt with, and I can move on with my life.
Right.
And that feels good.
Yeah.
It's an important step.
It does.
Well, and maybe somebody watching this who's scared to come forward or who's scared to go forward with their charges will see you and, be inspired and know that you felt so good on the other side of it and happy that you did it.
It's hard, but it's worth it. It feels good to move forward. Scary. Mixed emotions, for sure. Nothing that anyone ever wants to go through, but bad people don't deserve to get away with stuff.
If you leave here this evening and you have questions, or if you have a question in a week, or in 2 weeks, or in a month, who are you going to call? That's right. That's right. So we're here for you completely.
Okay.